Hey guys, this is another episode of ArabiaAskedYou. Today I have such a special treat. Well, another special treat because it's always a special treat. Guys, I am talking to a panel. This is my first panel discussion of 2019. And you know what? It's Gay Pride, so why not? We are talking to 3 amazing people about their experiences being gay in the DMV. You don't want to miss this. Stay tuned.
With her, when you put the mic in her hand, she'll make you say yes, ma'am.
Arabia asked us and we answered.
Guys, this is another episode of ArabiaAskedYou. This is the DC Pride episode. So basically, we are having an episode today about basically being gay in the DMV area. So I have with me Darian and Chelsea, and we're going to discuss just all things about their life. Are you guys ready?
I thought you was going to say all things gay.
Yeah! When I first started my show, and I am coming into my 2 years of recording.
Yes. Congratulations.
Thank you. So my first initial show was, I was in Puerto Rico. And so I asked the people, what's the craziest thing you've ever done for love? So I think that is so right to ask you, group of people, my first panel of 2019.
Okay.
What is the craziest thing you've ever done for love? And crazy doesn't have to be busting windows.
But it could be.
Because I am all for it. But I'm all for going to jail. But if you whatever you feel comfortable sharing, or you could say what somebody did for you that was crazy, whichever works.
For me, being a big-hearted person, I've done a lot of foolish things for love with several women. So I'm trying to think of the most foolish. Crazy. I haven't busted any windows or things of the sort. To be honest, probably the craziest thing I did was move one of them in my mama's house.
And how old were you, madam?
That was the last serious relationship I had. That I was 33, 34. We had been living together for some time. We both fell on hard. It was just hard times for both of us. Same time, everything came crashing. We both had lost our jobs. We lost our apartment. She did not have a supportive family at all, and she had children as well. That was my biggest thing. Was I wanted somewhere that her kids could go. It was shared between her ex-husband and us, and so I was like, she could be hopping houses, but I know she won't be able to see the kids. Neither will I. So my parents, although they had finally got to a point where they were fine with the relationship and with me and my sexuality, being in the house with it, no ma'am. So it was a conversation that I didn't want to have, but at the same time, I was very invested in that relationship. So,
And the conversation with your parents?
Yes.
About
to
bringing...
even ask, yes.
And it was done?
It was. It was very strange. Again, like I said, we had to, after living together for 2 years, almost 3 years, we had to sleep in separate rooms and all of that. Yeah.
So there was no sex in the house?
Oh.
No. Which is a rule in my house, period. If you're not married, it's not happening no matter how old.
Your mother's house, not your house?
Yes, my parents' house.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
My parents' house. Yes.
So you want her house to have sex too? Okay.
So that would be the craziest thing, was that I pushed the boundaries of the relationship that I finally got kind of steady with my parents and my sexuality, and saying, can I bring her and her kids sometimes here because she's got nowhere else to go. I know that was a whole stretch.
Okay, so I have one question for you. I'm still tabling you guys a question, but you said that the woman was divorced. Is that a fear of yours with women I guess, dealing with men and then now dealing with you, of them possibly maybe cheating or even going back to men?
Right now, I would say no. It's actually with this person. It's one of the reasons that our relationship stalled, because I knew she was bisexual. You know, initially, obviously, she had children already.
Right.
But she's still bisexual. And in the past, not even just in the past, I mean, right now, I'm not gonna not date you because you're bisexual. But if you want a man, you want a man. I'm never gonna be a man. There's nothing I can put on, throw on, act like. You want what you want. And there are certain things I don't want to have to compete with. But again, like I said, the difference between years ago and now, I have the confidence that if anybody's going to be with me, all they want is me.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
But again, because I was like, no, I know you might want to go back, and I don't want to have the type of relationship where you go out sometimes to get your thrill or get your fix. That's just not something I wanted. You know, like you said earlier, if that's what you want to do and that's the kind of relationship that works for different people, cool. It's just not something that I'm looking for.
If you guys can continue on with the question, in terms of what's the craziest things you've ever done for love?
You said you're last. I'll answer this one. So for me, it would be them in my life. So I was in a relationship 2 years ago, and basically when we met, I was in like a lower point in my life. I would say, I think for me, I had already attached so much of my like self-worth to what I was producing and how I was being, you know, your career. I think that's common with a lot of men too. So I wasn't doing something that I really wanted to do. I was getting paid low, and basically I was working in a store, and basically this individual came in and met me in the store. And so it was like, it started off like super cute, like popping up on me, getting me coffee, and like just staying, staying in the store. The stalker.
Well, I mean,
I was so with it because I was just like, this is so thoughtful. Like, you just keep coming in, checking in on me, buying stuff.
That's
you know
what
what
they
I mean?
do.
Giving me that good commission. You know, I needed that commission.
Okay.
So it was like, it started off one way, and then it's like, as we just got to know each other more and more, well, I'll say once I was already on the hook and reeled in, I realized that the individual was very different to what I had been made to think.
True color start showing.
Right.
Yeah, very much possessive, very much, and it was weird because in the beginning it was so much encouragement. It was so much like, you can be whatever you want to be. Like, I see you. Like, I'm your number one cheerleader. And then when we got in the relationship, I had to basically be his biggest cheerleader, which of course is like, okay, you do that in a relationship. But when I realized this person has so many emotional needs or just insecurities, that I was like, I can't even do this. Like, there's nothing that I can really do to fill this void for you. You got to fill it for yourself.
Okay.
But basically in that relationship, what that caused me to do was kind of like I wasn't really hanging out with my friends anymore. I wasn't really like doing things that I wanted to do. My social life was basically everything he wanted to do. And he had a lot of friends, granted, he had a lot of female friends. And so it was just always like, we were just a unit all going out. And it's like, if I didn't want to go out or if I didn't want to do those things, there was all these accusations behind it. Well, where do you want to be? Where would you rather be? You know, that type of thing. Right. And I'm just like, in right hand of God, I never cheated in that relationship. But it was like that Keisha Cole song, I should have. Because it's like, I'm always getting accused of cheating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Do you think that he was cheating?
I don't. I honestly don't. I don't think that that's what it was.
Okay.
Because my thing is like, he was really about giving all his time to me too at the same time. Like, he just wanted to merge our lives together.
Okay.
Right.
He was an older guy. He was like 33 when I was 24. So
you like him older?
I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say historically I've dated older than myself. But that's just because, like, I've always been around older people all my life. I was an only child for so long, so I gravitate towards that. But I'm definitely open to dating someone my age and a little bit younger. Not too much younger.
Sugar daddy?
Was he a sugar daddy?
No,
I guess in the like, it wasn't in the sense of like we was doing all this lavish stuff. It wasn't that, but it was that he was definitely the more financially secure person in the relationship.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm asking, would you date a sugar daddy? Like, would that be okay for you?
I feel like
Sugar daddy or sugar mama?
Sugar mama.
yeah,
looking.
gotta have that sugar mama. I felt like, but see, to go back to the original question, right? If it comes with these attachments and like constraints, no. But like, if you're just supporting me being me and you love everything that I'm about, then we could make that happen. Yes, but I don't want to be chained up in somebody's apartment and basically just have to be, whatever they want me to be, or just be on call to them.
Right.
Not at all.
For me, I was kind of not really dating someone, and I just started to change myself to be more appeasing to them. For me, I've always been different. I didn't do the same thing that everyone else did, and you know this. So I was modeling full time. Always in a shoot, always doing this, always doing that, had makeup done, had hair done, everything, just doing it. But for them, it was like, oh, well, you're not at the shoot anymore. Why do you have to do this? Why do you have to do that? Why do you have to look like this? Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, one, I done went through all of this to get this done. I'm not about to take this out. Mm-hmm. I'm not about to have to keep getting it's just a lot. Especially if you're not into the beauty industry the way that I am, you may not fully understand. Mm-hmm. So I just started to strip different little pieces of myself away in order to fit what they wanted me to be. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I lost myself in that situation, and ultimately they were doing what they wanted to do at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I found out about it, and I'm a person that holds, doesn't say anything because I don't know how to say it. Because I'm not a passive person, but I can be very
like overthinking
it and not knowing how to bring it up. And sometimes you can communicate with a person, but they're not easy to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Or they hear you, but they don't hear you.
Right.
They're not listening.
Yeah, everything is going through one end, it's going out the other. Yeah. So when I brought everything to light, I knew it for a year. And I don't know how I managed to do that. It literally was an internal thing that I was dealing with every single day. Mm-hmm. And I was in hair school at the time.
You stayed busy.
Right.
I kept myself busy. And I think that's why I'm still busy now. It's not that situation isn't affecting me now, but I just keep myself busy because I've just had so much happen. But I would literally rush home. I was living with the person at the time too. Yeah. And I would rush home, trying to see what was going on, trying to make sure ain't nobody was just dipping on out of there. I mean, I was checking washcloths, towels, you name it. Because it had really affected me.
Right.
And I don't think that individual understood how much that played a role on me and how it possibly could affect me with dating in the future. Mm-hmm. Because it's like you can trust someone, but it's like in the back of your head, what you really don't. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think that people understand that when you, especially myself, when you're dating someone and you do things to them, how you can affect them. Mm-hmm. I know that a lot of times in my previous relationship, I was not so good to this person. But to me, how I felt was like, well, he did this to me and he did this to me.
Tit for tat.
Right. It was a lot of tit for tat. And it was a lot of things that I feel like now that when I guess grew up, it's like, okay, you can't do certain things. Even though, yes, this is a man, but men are very delicate people, just like women. Yep. And they have feelings. Mm-hmm. And it's like, well, people have feelings. I'm not going to say just men and women. You get it. But I think that it took me to be able to get out of a situation to really say, dang, like, I might be the toxic person, you know? And it just...
I mean... That is, it's a big thing to say.
It is a big thing, but it's a big thing to say, and it's also you have to grow up. At the time you grow up and you say, yes, this person somebody did this. Yes, this person cheated on you. Yes, this person did this. But what did you do? Yeah. And I think that a lot of times that people don't really look at what you do. And even though, yes, this person could have been stalking you, he doing this and the third.
Stick with the stalker word. Listen, you are not a stalker.
No, I'm just saying that it just okay. You're not a stalker. But I'm just saying, like, you just never know what.
You might be watching me.
Right? You know what I'm saying? Thanks for watching. Yeah. You just never know what you've done too. Right. And I think that a lot of times, even if somebody has done something to you, they cheated on you, they did this, that, and the third, you have to look at yourself. What did you not do? Mm-hmm. And I think that
that's a dangerous thing, though, because you don't want to blame yourself necessarily because just because somebody cheated on you, that's not necessarily because of something that you did.
Yes, but it also could be something that you did not do. And that's just but listen to what I'm saying. Hear me out. I'm listening. People cheat for various reasons, right?
Yeah.
If that person, let's say I'm dating somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And I cheated on them because they didn't know how to do me right sexually.
Okay. But you didn't communicate.
But I did, exactly. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I feel like when it comes to that, and that's just my mentality, I feel like when it comes to relationships, it's not just one person. It doesn't matter how the relationship ended, how the relationship started, whatever. I feel like it's on both parties. And I'm not putting blame on myself or what. I'm not saying you guys blame yourselves. Like, I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that I do think that it's very imperative that we always look at the part that we played. Right. Even if it's a small part. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, okay, well, I didn't communicate this with him, and maybe I didn't wear lingerie. Maybe he had a fetish that I couldn't do. And it's like, yeah, you didn't do it because I don't want to do it. But then you might lose your man because of that. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that it's, or your woman, I'm not saying that it's important, but I do think in relationships you have to communicate and understand that it's a give and take. Absolutely. And sometimes you just got to look at self.
And a big thing is, even when one thing people have to understand, communicating, like, yes, that's necessary. You have to be ready that when you communicate, maybe you just aren't going to meet. Yes. Mm-hmm. And that's what people fear. That's why they don't. And that's why they don't do it, because you want to stick with what did work. Yeah. You don't want to open the window of what you know you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, you're just stringing it along, and that's where you talk about what you didn't do and what you did do that can be toxic. You didn't open those floodgates because you wanted to hold on to hope and everything else. No, you need to talk about everything that you need and don't want to, you know what I'm saying, move forward and be healthy for both of you. Right. Because, that's the big thing of what you didn't do. Mm-hmm. And usually that starts with communication. Mm-hmm. You knew that your partner might have wanted this, but you didn't, or even you did talk about it and you try to negate, you try to put blame on, oh, well, you didn't want this at first, this, that. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter. Where are we at right now?
People change.
Yeah, that part. Where are we at right now? Yeah.
I actually was talking to a friend of mine recently because she's dealing with a guy right now, and I think for her it's like she's tiptoeing a lot around his feelings about certain things because he's not where he wants to be in life, but he has these big lofty goals and he's not doing anything to really see them through. But at the same time, he's unloading on her, and he's like basically just making her feel like she's not doing enough in certain areas of the relationship. So I tell her all the time, I'm like, listen, you have to get to a place where it's difficult to communicate these things, but you can't be afraid of his emotions or his responses because y'all can't grow from that. If anything, you're just going to be drained constantly because she's very ambitious. She's doing different things. Right. And here she has this man child, know, that basically is, just bringing her kind of down and just like throwing all this emotional weight.
I feel like when a man is not where he needs to be, it's a dub. Yeah. In my opinion. It's a dub. And I
would agree.
But it takes a situation where it's like, did you guys see Acrimony?
But I heard about it.
Oh, guys.
That's Taraji.
You guys are killing me. Yeah. Okay, so basically...
we talking about the movie where she went crazy. She was sitting on the couch talking to the lady.
Right.
I haven't seen it, but that was the only part I remember.
Yes. So basically, in a situation like that, they went to college together. He was cheating, whatever. They was in college. They ended up getting married. And so he was not where he wanted to be. and he was trying to discover this new invention. But she wasn't, at the time, she was like, okay, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
I did see it. I saw it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she was there for it, but then it was just like, after a while, it was like, okay, you're not bringing in no money. Like, I gotta go. And so when she left, he ended up coming into money.
Right after.
Like, right after that.
Oh, man.
And she didn't stay for that. And because she didn't stay, she wanted her cut at the end. Now, my take on it is like, in terms of like your friend, I'm not saying stay there for a man that's not doing what he's supposed to do, no. But if you can make it work, and if it's like, if he's I don't deal with disrespect, and I don't deal with abuse. Like, I don't deal with that. I don't even deal with an argument. Like, it's just not going to happen.
But see, no, that situation, why I say it's effed up, is because she's not talking to him and giving him, I think, just the real. I think with that situation, she took so much, and then it got to a point where it's like, I can't take no more. But she could have had those checkpoints along the way saying, hey, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. What I feel like my friend is doing is like, babe, you know, like just doing that. But then like, you know what I mean?
Coddling.
She's coddling.
And that's one thing I'm not going to do is raise a grown man.
Right.
I'm not going to do that.
Right. And so it's,
hello?
and it's blown up in her face because it's like with him, the way he kind of like, I guess, exerts his manhood because he can't do it, you know, in that way is entertaining all these women, you know. And
see, that's something different.
Right.
Now, I could deal with a man who hasn't, you know, he's trying to figure out what he got to do. But when it comes to you're dealing with other women,
hold on,
we on a whole other boy.
Okay, so
I know it's layered because I'm just like, why? Like, I'm literally talking to him like, why are you saying this? Why are you saying this?
So,
she's
and then
like,
it comes to a point. What's her self-esteem?
I think what it is that, and that's really why I brought it up too, because I think she's getting at that point. I think women do have that point in their mind where they just think like, I want a family, I want kids, da 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 da. And so I think what she's doing is, I think she's settling for a piece, and that's why I even brought up this whole thing.
Don't settle.
You were saying something that made me think about, don't settle for a piece of somebody or a piece of a thing.
Potential.
And that's what I told her. I was like, don't fall in love with potential. I think she's too late. But at the end of the day, it's like when you fall in love with a potential, it's like, but what are they doing with the potential? Like, you know, you don't want this person sitting in your house all day eating your food, texting other women on IG with other women, not making no moves, and you support it.
I did that so much. I fell in love with so many women's potential, which some of them at this point now they're reaching it, but this is like 10 years later,
right?
And but I have this foresight. I was like, I know you're going to be great. I know you're going to be wonderful. But they were still immature. They still. My biggest mistake is just way too giving, way too patient, way too, just like I said, seeing
What's
the
your
later
sign, girl?
picture. You told me it's Cancer.
Oh yes, water signs. Water signs.
My dad was a Cancer.
So, I see the greater parts of somebody, just, no matter what they do, even seeing the bad things. So in the past, I made the mistake of just ignoring these flags, those flags, because I knew they would be great later. And I didn't mind being there to nurture this. That was my mistake. And then it would be on them tossing it back at me. Well, you always said you would. And then that was a guilt thing on me. And I'm like, yeah, but you suck.
And on that note, we have just ended part 1 of our DMV gay episode. Stay tuned and you will be here for part 2.